It's time for the Film Cricket with Jay Fortier and Chris Martineau. On this week's episode number 39, Jay, Chris, and their special guests, actress Katie Chonacas and actor Keith Coogan, review the 1987 American teen comedy film, also known as A Night in the Town, Adventures in Babysitting. Does it stand the test of time? Let's find out. Your Film Crickets are on now.
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, good day, everybody, wherever you are in this wide, wide world of ours. Welcome to another edition of the Film Crickets. I'm co-host Chris Martineau, joined by my lifelong friend,
Jay Fortier.
Hey, Jay, what's happening today? So we are, I can't tell you how excited I am. We have an actual.
You okay?
I had a small stroke. I'll be fine. We have an actual actor from one of the... I'll be all right. We have an actor from one of the movies that we've reviewed. So joining us today is Brad Anderson himself, Keith Coogan.
Good.
Say hello, Keith. What's happening?
It, out here in LA, and good. Great to be on the show. Thanks for having me, guys. And I understand you're doing Adventures of Babysitting tonight. This is bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, I know. It seems what a coincidence. Now, wait a minute. It is a coincidence. So we have another guest, Katie Chonacas. She hasn't been able to make the meeting yet. So we had to kind of go along with it. And the strange story here is that we talked to Katie and we said, we got this podcast called The Film Crickets. And we want to, we pick movies from the 80s and we see if they hold up the 80s to 99. And we see if they hold up to the test of time. And she said, that'd be great. I got two choices. One is Adventures in Babysitting, and the other one is Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Keith, do either of these movies sound familiar to you? Surprisingly, you're in both. So we then reached out. Jason. Oh, no. Well, if you want to choose, go ahead. So Jason, who kind of is he is the legwork. Applause to Jay Fortier, by the way. He does a lot of the work in getting all of our guests, and I can't be more appreciative, honestly, of the work that you do to get these people. So we got Keith to come on the show, and I'm real excited. So he's been in a bevy of babysitting movies, but also not a lot of people can say that, Keith. I have to say it. But also Fox and the Hound, the voice of young Todd, Little House on the Prairie, Toy Soldiers, and a plethora of other things. So I want to welcome you to the show. This is really great. And I'm so excited that you're here. And I love your. Do you call it a man cave?
This is our arcade.
Like what do you call where you're at right now in your house?
It's in our living room. We're nuts. My wife always wanted an arcade and stuff, so we.
That's really awesome.
She was on People Puzzler recently and won and some of those winnings and got some of our favorites. Joystick.
I have the arcade 1-up for Pac-Man. Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah, we got that one.
Old arcade, they're perfect.
Now, if I can get NBA Jam, I'll be all right.
do you have that? Boom shakalaka! All right, so the movie we have this week, by a wild coincidence, is Adventures in Babysitting, and our goal here is that we're going to discuss it, and we're going to come to Keith here and see what he thinks about it as well. Kind of an interesting slant on this. And our goal here is to talk about the movie and decide if it stands up after not seeing it. I only saw this movie once back in the day. I have not seen this movie since. And Jason, where are you at with this?
I saw it in the
theater,
movie? And I also saw it a bunch of times, probably up until the early 90s. And I hadn't seen it probably since, just timing or whatever, and so it was a nice refresher.
All right, so this is something I never get to ask. Keith Coogan, Brad Anderson himself, when was the last time you actually sat down and watched this movie? You talk about it a lot, but when was the last time you actually watched it?
Not the whole thing, but it just premiered on Disney Plus, and I was curious, so it said it was rated TV PG, and I went, that's not PG-13. Probably
yes, it
the
was.
TV edit or something. And then at the beginning it said this content has been edited for, it's been edited for content. And I said, okay, it was same running time. And sure enough, they looped in the more troubling words that I think parents forget. Parents that are our age they remember it. And they're like, yeah, it was fun. And they might have even gotten in trouble for language, but they forget and they show their kids today. I'd rather they watch Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead first with their kids than Adventures in Babysitting. Because after that, you get a flurry of,
all right,
certain words. And it's still effective. And
right.
What I read in one article about it said that it gave the movie a feeling of kind of danger. Like, we don't have any really overt violence or blood or anything.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We do that. Like, we're not supposed to watch it, or our parents would kill us if they knew. And the parents forgave it because it was all in the moment of the story, and they're kind of like, that was actually kind of funny, so we'll let that one go. But, 20 minutes later, the kid's running around the house saying the F word. Not good.
It's definitely something I want to bring up because it does go from PG-13 to your PG rating, and I noticed that, and I'm watching it. I saw it on Disney Plus. I watched it on Disney Plus last night, and I'm like, that wasn't PG from the stuff I remember. That when I saw this was not PG, and that's what made it. Again, as in my formative years, which are probably about the same formative years as you. You were 17 when they made the movie. I'm only a couple of years younger. When I saw it, that's what gave it its grit. That's what gave it its edge. It actually turns from a movie that's a very pleasant family comedy into something pseudo-dangerous. Pseudo, not totally. But it had some grit and it had some balls to it a little bit because of that.
Gangster.
Right?
And
I know.
It's crazy. The language, knife fight.
And how about the guy that how about the actor that they chose to be the ultimate gangster? It's almost I don't know who he is. I'm sure you know his name, but
I think he did years on NYPD Blue. He continued to act.
Yeah.
Oh,
but he would be the
no.
But he would be like the ultimate choice,
hold on,
to teach children to stay away from cars, like you know what I mean, like the guy that put the Brady Bunch,
take care of them after.
Yeah. That's I want to say it's John Chandler.
It is John Chandler.
Are we talking about him? John Chandler. All right. Yep. That's unfortunate. And we see Vinny D'Onofrio. We see Vincent D'Onofrio. I want to know how many years removed or before Private Pile this movie is, because right? And so
I know the weight
and at some point he becomes Vincent D'Onofrio, and I'm
6 months after he.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm not
Saving Private. I mean,
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. He's on the set.
That's a different movie.
6 months after wrapping, he's on the set. So he lost the weight, and then they used tricks with lighting and makeup.
So Babysitting was 6 months after
to make him look a little more ripped than he was, but he certainly wasn't Private Pile weight, and that's just 6 months from breaking De Niro's record.
Wow,
impressive.
Wow, that's nutty. Because then it turns into he's like Captain Apnea. Like if you see him,
figure out a way to make Pile have a fatal flaw or a weakness. They couldn't figure it out. It couldn't be internal. They said it has to be external. They said, what if he was really heavy? And so he gained all the weight just for that. I think 80 pounds. Wow. And then once he suicided, he's off the movie. So. And I'm pretty sure Kubrick shoots in continuity. So once he's off the movie, they're still shooting it. And I think they basically finished shooting while he hits our set. And we shot and released it quickly. We shot Adventures of Babysitting January through March, and it came out that July 1st.
Holy moly. All right.
There was no matte shots. There's no optical printers. It was all in-camera effects with front projection. So just cut the thing together and put the soundtrack on and get it out. And so Full Metal Jacket came out the same time as Adventures of Babysitting. While me and Anthony Rapp were doing the press tour for Adventures of Babysitting, we went and saw Full Metal Jacket in a theater in Salt Lake City and went, he could have killed us. He could have killed us. We didn't even know.
Yeah, and then let's not forget turning into the Kingpin. So because he's Kingpin and it's crazy pants. So all right, so let's get back to this here. Let's get back to this here movie and talk about now. To be honest, okay, and Jay knows this, and I say this all the time. Jaws is my favorite movie of all times. It's not the best movie of ever, but it's my favorite movie.
Jaws is my favorite movie.
Yeah, favorite movie all time. There are better movies, but it's my favorite movie. But I will pick that movie apart. Okay, so and I will make jokes about how ridiculous it is at times. So this is what's going to happen at times with Adventures in Babysitting. So because that's just the way it is. So I love the movies I make fun of. So just to be aware of that. So there's a question that I got to start with. First of all, Deborah Hill produces this movie. Worked with John Carpenter all the time. So it's so funny that we go from Deborah Hill to this film. Then she's done other stuff that wasn't horror movies. But I mean, I have a T-shirt that says, it's black with orange letters that says a Deborah Hill production in honor of her role on Halloween.
She was able to stand in front of studio executives and say, I have produced the single most successful film about a babysitter. Halloween.
Wow.
And then Linda Oakes was like, and I'll watch the bottom line. And they were good cop, bad cop. And Linda's an amazing producer. Look at Interstellar. I think they both also did Fisher King.
They did
about 3 movies together.
They did.
And the partnership was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And Deborah Hill's father is in the movie. He is the toll booth operator. They said, those kids, who's going to pay for those kids? Mm-hmm. That's Deborah Hill's father.
All right.
And Linda Oakes is in the French restaurant scene when we kick Daryl. They cut to a shot of her table, and she's got long dark hair, and she goes, oh, and she kind of whispers. She's kind of down lower right foreground.
Right.
And so Linda's in there, and Deborah miss her dearly. But I don't think there was a question about rights. We were able to get video and audio, but not synced, because that was a different legality that she didn't own. But she owned the master soundtrack to Halloween, and she owned the master picture to Halloween. She didn't own a sync license. That's been sold to the studios. So she was able to use the video of Halloween when we're rooting through her purse in the living room. Halloween's on the TV.
Oh, yeah.
But it's weird audio. And then later, something else is on TV, and it's Halloween's audio. So it's weird. And I also got a license for The Creeping Eye, or The Crawling Eye. That was like the horror movie on the black and white TV. That was more in the script, more about the TV and what was on the TV. It was very specific in the script. And then depending on licenses and how much things cost. It cost more to use the first couple of bars of Gimme Shelter by the Rolling Stones than me and Anthony Rapp salaries combined.
Wow. So wait, the pecking order is and
they couldn't even use Mick Jagger's vocals. They had to fade out before
I was just going to say
vocals, because
the pecking order is Mick Jagger, Keith Coogan.
Mick Jagger, Dr. Hathaway, you, into the Cleaners.
So I was going to ask about that because, Jay, weren't you blown away? Weren't you? And I'd forgotten about this, and I don't know what the deal is. And I guess I'm in the right spot to ask. This soundtrack blows my mind because it's all stuff from 30 years before. Like 1987, you're expecting 87,
Deborah
a lot of
Gibson,
synth pop,
Debbie
a lot of
Gibson
kind of like crappy Debbie Gibson kind of stuff, and I'd totally forgotten this soundtrack was actually really, really good. And that's to me for this movie. Again, what's it trying to tell me? It's got this really safe 50s music, and we start the movie very safe. We see Elizabeth Shue singing into a bedpost, and then in almost no time, we're going into super gritty, but we still hold this really old soundtrack. And I just thought that was a really interesting choice because you expect it. I mean, look at the cover of the poster. It's got the triangle, the pink triangle there with the really awesome letters in it. But it's very 80s. There's no doubt about it. And the fact that we have this really old soundtrack, I don't know. It was an interesting choice. It's almost like Dirty Dancing-esque. Like I don't know which came first, and I don't care. But it's like we're all in that. Dirty Dancing had that really awesome old-timey soundtrack.
Both 80s.
Is it the same year? I don't remember. But they're both really popular. You know what I mean? And it's just surprising to me that these really old songs are so popular. And I just forgotten that was even in the movie. No modern songs, basically, in this film.
we took it for granted when we got the script and did it, and it was released. But I've now read articles with Chris Columbus or David Sipkins where they didn't know where the movie was going to be set, and when it was finally decided Chicago, Chris goes blues bar scene, all that other stuff, and I guess that gives you the feeling of going into that danger kind of zone. Because I mean, yes, the movie suburbs versus inner city. Maybe it's white kids versus the blacks in the city. I don't think it is. I think that blues music helps, obviously, with the blues and scary and but it's sane people that have an adventure with a bunch of people from a Preston Sturges movie, specifically Bringing Up Baby. After Bringing Up Baby, he said, "I made a mistake. There were no straight men in that." He goes, "Everyone was wackadoo." So I know Chris Columbus was deeply. We watched Arsenic and Old Lace. Horse Feathers or A Day at the Races, and After Hours.
Oh yeah,
because after hours.
Well,
he goes, you leave a location and you go all in one night to different things. You never return to a previous event until you return home just in time. And he didn't even know his ending. Scorsese didn't know until somebody said he should end up at work, and he went, "Perfect, we'll end him up at work." So we knew we were doing a kid's version of After Hours, and we're thinking on that level. We're thinking on that
funny.
level.
Keith, hold on. Jay's going to tell you something.
When we were we launched in like September, October for the first time this past year. So we're not even a year old as far as our podcast is concerned. No, but all summer long, we were preparing and getting things ready and trying to figure it out, because it's like, how the hell do we go about doing this? So what we wanted to do was do at least 3 dry runs, and we didn't even record the first 2. We just separately went and watched the film, acted like it was live, did it, and the first one was After Hours. Unfortunately, it's not recorded. But
look, to this day, when someone's dialing a phone, I'll go 7, 4, 6, 8, 4, 6. They go, what are you doing? I go, if I have to explain it, then I don't know why we're friends, really.
Yeah.
I had a set of VHS tapes that I would watch, and it was good. It was from Lawrence of Arabia to, Grease to Blade Runner and just in Brazil. And I would put certain movies on. I just play 3 or 4 movies a day, just whatever you're doing around the house. And so I could peel apart a lot of movies. And trust me, when we made Adventures of Babysitting, we were as much as anyone could. We had a great continuity now it was then called Script Supervisor. Now they call him Continuity. Sue Richards, and she had eagle eye and a great memory and great communication with Chris Columbus and Ralph Oda, who did Rick Waite, who did he also shot like Great Outdoors. And so she would figure which ones were getting printed, and then, have to make notes of where this was and how far the window was rolled down, and, whether the door locks up or down, all those little things. It's almost impossible for any one person to keep track of. So everybody tries, but when you can't and no one can remember, you look back to the script supervisor and they'll go, it's to the left, it's right there. They'll have notes and Polaroids and stuff. And this is before playback. This is before monitors, really, on set. They had a little video monitor, but it doesn't show the same lens size. It's just for playback, so you can kind of watch and go, did we see this man back there? No, we didn't see him. Oh, there's a bad miss. When, Pruitt tries to hit the guy in the street, and he just airballs him by this much. But they left it in, and because the crane is kind of pulling back, and so we were very aware of everything, except in the script, Sarah's supposed to leave her backpack in Dan's Jeep. Well, we were shooting a scene afterwards, and we cut print, and we're moving on, and Sue goes, guys, she's got her backpack on. We were supposed to already lose it in the cab. They're like, we can't reshoot this. What do we do? And somebody said, what if she lost one of her skates that was in the bag? Now we don't. So then when they shot the end, they just changed, say my skate. I can't find my skate. And then they had him show the skate with her name spelled differently than the credits. So the skate has an
I saw
H,
that.
and her credits don't have an H. It's very weird.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So it's a night shoot, obviously, right? That was a long day, if I'm not mistaken, correct? I mean, what's your call? Like, what time are you getting to shoot, and when are you done? Like 8 to 6 in the morning, or what?
They started 50/50s, and we started on Brenda and Chris talking about spiking a tab with Drano, and then also shot the door with the So Cool, and then shot. It went dark. They had lunch, and then we strapped cameras to the side of Pruitt's truck, and we were shooting interior cab of the truck. This is in Toronto. Us coming down the street, approaching where Pruitt was being cheated on by the wife, and where we just before we meet Joe Gipp. So, it was shot completely out of continuity. I mean, everything was jumbled, but we started on half days and half nights, and we were kind of on nights for a while. Our cover sets were being built. But they had the chop shop set built. There was one huge sound warehouse they'd rented that had the chop shop set, and behind that was the Associate Center set being built. The kind of exterior of the glass and the whole office, like one floor of the office.
Sure, yeah.
And when the chop shop set was done, they tore that down and built an insert of the bus station, a little bus station shot. And then the whole stage was taken over by the Translight and the set for the Associate Center. Because we shot physically in there and only used models. We never saw the building in Chicago. That was all plate photography.
Sure. And
then they used front projection. So it was never a blue screen or a matte. We could see and look in the camera what was going to be on the final film.
Right. So I guess the
question...
question...
we did all the night stuff. Everything. Running around. Rooftops. And then we started to move indoors, but it was still nighttime. And I remember one time we'd been up nights and we went to go shoot us leaving the house to get in the car. And Daryl jumps out and we're like, get in the car and run him over.
Yep.
Stray dog. And you can see me specifically. I can't keep, it's so bright because daylight, we're so used to night. So it's like, I'm like, right. And they put it in the snow. They had to, it was too snowy, so they had to de-snow it. And then one point there was no snow, so they had to add snow.
Wow.
So it's still that white blinding your eyes, and then it's bright daylight. Oh my god,
that's funny.
So I guess the question I had then it seems like you're always it takes place allegedly in the I know it's Toronto and all those other places and the sets that you just described. It seems as though and what I like about movies like this that we are able to traverse one end of Chicago to the other in 5 minutes. And what I'm wondering is, there's a lot of scenes with you running. So I'm wondering, were you either A, in really good shape at the end of this movie, or B, just sucking wind all the time? Because you guys were always running, huddled together. And that poor little girl who has legs about yay big, like, you're always hauling ass somewhere in the dark. Somewhere. And I'm like, this poor bastard must be like, all right, we got to do another take. Wait. Holy Jesus. I mean, hey, Keith, you know what's better than running? Not running.
Yeah. But at 17, and having just done a Starman episode where I was the antagonist to Christopher Daniel Barnes, and I was a long-distance runner, I had already done my studying and training as a runner.
Okay.
No, we rehearsed the whole movie for 2 weeks in December of 86.
Okay.
And then took a New Year's break and then went back to Toronto and started early, I think January 3rd or 5th or 8th. I don't know. I can't remember. I don't have a call sheet. But the half of the running is doubles and half is us.
Okay.
Except for Sarah, because of minor working laws and the Twilight Zone trial was going on with John Landis at the time.
Okay.
They were very strict on Maya cannot work past midnight.
Yep.
So they had an actress in Canada that worked under Canadian laws, and they're like, sure, she can work after midnight. And she was just an inch taller, and actually both of them grew during production, and had a thick Canadian accent. And Maya gets mad every time I tell the story because she was never on set for this. But this little girl would do her lines. And it always broke my heart because when you're working with an actor, you're working with the actor.
Yep.
You can't, I don't know, I can't just replace them, with Maya. So this little, look, Thor, mighty god of thunder. It was hysterical. So anytime we're on a rooftop, really, a lot, and there's a brilliant hidden cut where we're pulling her through the chop shop roof of the office, and it's all danger spikes, and we're pulling her body double up, and we get up and put her down, and it's Maya. And it was either a Texas switch, a hidden cut when he crosses black as he's booming up, or there's an obvious cut that's so smooth and buttery that your brain goes, oh, that was really Maya pulling. But I still, to remember this day, using a lot of double for Maya. And then we were double too. And they have to let you know. Because SAG rules, you can't be doubled without permission.
Okay.
They're like, you're going to have to do a shot with your doubles running down the street. Second unit's out there now. And they had clothes. They had 2 sets of every stage of 5 stages of breakdown for the night. So our clothes would get a little dirty or a little more scuffed or whatever. And it's subtle because you don't really notice it. But they would also have to give those copies to stunt doubles for different things. And we also did a lot of our own stunts, but with a lot of safety gear.
Sure.
So we're really in the truck bouncing around, but come on. We're on maybe being towed by a flatbed. We're 40 feet off the ground on a gridiron walking out of the chop shop, but they've got a scissor lift up with these thick 3-foot mats that it's only a small drop. It's like 5 feet to the mat. Don't fall off the mat and down to the ground again. But there were a lot of safety meetings, time and time again. Here's a new set, safety meeting. Here's a stunt we're doing today, safety meeting. And everyone explain it. Our stunt coordinators in the movie is one of the gang members on the L train.
Yep.
So is Anthony Rapp's brother.
Okay.
Is one of the gang members of the L train.
Wow.
He's the redhead guy.
Yeah.
And family and the Associate Center party. You've got Chris Columbus's mom is there. And Elizabeth Shue's brother is in the frat party.
Okay.
Oh, right.
From
Andrew.
Melrose Place.
God, all this
Andrew's
cheap labor. So that's really awesome. So I have to make a couple of observations.
Her family. Maya had her little sister because her mom had to be on set with her. So Maya Bruton's little sister and her mom are a unit of 3. So, it was just a really, and Chris Columbus and his wife is the prostitute on the riverfront. And she also choreographed the opening dance sequence and the stuff for the blues.
Oh, that's cool.
And her name's Monica Devereaux. Was her maiden name was Devereaux. Her father was the cop that chases Macaulay Culkin in the town square.
Oh, get out of here. All right, yeah.
And Chris Columbus, yeah.
And he's also sitting at the table with the guys talking about Cleveland is dead. Oh, and Devereaux Street is the street that you and your girls there are going to be dead meat. Next up,
Devereaux, that's right.
So he put his wife's name as the street name that all hell's going to break loose on the L train. I love that.
Cool stuff. No, I mean, you're going to sprinkle your own little influences here and there. I do have one funny observation I thought about the chop shop. We have an illegal chop shop. And so, we a lot of the MacGuffin is happening at this chop shop. Like the whole kind of pushing the story forward. Like it is after hours, basically, from what you said. It's just one problem after another. And that's kind of the beauty of the movie, is that it's one problem after another. You don't see what problems are going to come next. And I want to dive into those problems a little bit more. But I think it's really funny is that the kids get brought to the illegal chop shop where we have the gangsters there that are buying and selling cars. Not drugs, they're not peddling people. It's just cars. So it's like, who cares?
A Porsche to Miami.
So
some Lincoln.
Who cares? So, but we have the foreman. I think it's so funny that you have all these people like taking cars apart, which is obviously illegal endeavor completely. The foreman stands up and goes, "All right, boys, quitting time," because a lot of illegal practices are union.
Yeah.
And then I said, if you're gonna go ahead and donate, we're gonna run lottery tomorrow. So go ahead and give some money to Phyllis. And
don't forget Secret Santa. Secret Santa next week.
Your uniform is enough to snuff. No collared shirts. Okay.
And then I was going to say,
so
if you're going to have an illegal chop shop, maybe don't have the grinders so close to the garage door where they're having the sparks just fly out the moment it opens.
No reason.
It's like a beacon, right? And absolutely, hey cops, check it out. Feel the sparks? Come on over. But
what I do love about that is when we leave the chop shop and go running down the alley, which is not us, it's our doubles. And he's getting the car, and he's like, "What are you gonna do? Run him over? Get the car!" They go chasing after him. They run past the Fly alley. It's Brundle's exterior of his loading dock kind of inventor apartment.
Wow!
And
really,
Chris Columbus was very specific. He goes, "I want the Cronenberg alley." So we call that the Cronenberg alley.
That's cool.
And I never shot on it, but the doubles did.
That's a bummer. Wow. So I would be remiss to not bring up a couple of points. One, and we can speak to this. These are possibly the oldest looking high school students in existence. I mean, and not even. I mean, obviously you passed at the time. You're 17, but playing a fifth. That's fine. Elizabeth Shue, I'm not buying as a 17-year-old, but it doesn't matter because she's pretty, and we don't really care. And she's dressed like an adult. I mean, she's got that big brown coat. She's dressed very conservative, like an adult. She's dressed like somebody's mom. I mean, that's my vibe from that. So she looks far older than 17. But I think the biggest culprit, and I've got to get the name, so hold on one second, would definitely be Bradley Whitford. How old is he supposed to be? Because I got to tell you, if he's in high school and he looks like he's about 30 and he's driving the IROC and we're going to a French restaurant in the middle of the city at around midnight, I'm not sure if that all jives. Now, again, I get it. It's a night out. It's after hours. We're going to bump into him later because we all know that he's lying to her at the beginning of the movie. So we know that's coming. And the only time that can come is late at night. I get it. And it's extra grease or extra salt on the wound that it's the same restaurant that they were going to go to because it's their whatever anniversary or whatever special occasion it was. So that's extra. But wow. Yeah. So that's all I'm getting at. That was my impression. She's a senior in high school, 17. We get no inkling that he's in college yet.
Civics and ethics and any of that. So maybe there was a year he had to do for inappropriate touching, and then her legs are locked together at the knees. Who talks like that?
Ooh. Yeah, no, that's so scummy. It's so gross.
Oh, and he couldn't be the nicest. He couldn't be nicer. I ran into him at a For Your Consideration event, Emmy event, like 2-3 years ago, and he's just genuinely sweet and hardworking, and he's funny. I mean, mostly these movies, I'm a hack, and I just learn stuff from watching TV. But most of these movies, you pay money to sit in a dark theater and spend an hour and a half with charming, beautiful people. Mm-hmm. And I'm not necessarily beautiful, but I can fake being charming. I don't know, I'm a good enough sociopath to do that. And I don't really love leads. I love ensemble pieces. You can't steal the scene if you're in every scene. Mm-hmm. So something like Adventures of Babysitting with the ensemble thing, I got to make choices that got in. Never talked about it with anyone or anything. Like, we're about to go in to get our car, and Dan is like, "You sure you don't need me to come in?" And in the background, you just see me go, "Yeah, like, we're sure. I got this now, buddy. Go home." And I just love that Chris Columbus and everyone allowed us to put our little things in there, Oh, and a great bit I love, very Bugs Bunny. We run into the party, and she goes, "Oh my God, we're at my mother's party," and we all Bugs Bunny split into 3 different directions.
Yep. Yes. I noticed.
So I had come up with it. I go, "What if?" Because we were all supposed to go boop and exit into the closet, and I said, "What if I go that way, you go that way, and that?" And then I did the running across with the jacket, and it was in them. I was like an adult, listen to a 17-year-old kid, and I was thrilled. So I just love Chris Columbus for that.
Oh, that's some good slapstick stuff, and that's a really great choice. That's so cool.
And the knife backwards with the filament. They're like, "We're going to guide it down a wire, and then it's going to go into a pre-cut slit." And I'm like, with my foot in it, I'm like, "Why don't you stick it in the shoe and pull it out with the wire and then run the film backwards?"
So the whole deal with the movie is the parents can't find out. If mom and dad find out, they're going to kill us. And that's what all of this comes from, is that we're going out into the city to save our friend, which I barely talked about, but that's fine. To save our friend, and all of this stuff happens, and we have to get back before mom and dad find out. Such to the point where we have a small child dangling off the side of a building. The parents are there. Chris is down under a table with the parents there. There's a child dangling out the window. Is it just stand up and go, hey, we need some help? There's a child dangling out the window. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, as a child, you know you're going to get in trouble, but my sister's about to die. Maybe I should just stand up and go, all right, look, he's trying to kill me. She's dangling out the window. Maybe we should just give up. I understand it's a movie. I understand that's not funny. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like all I was thinking at that point. I'm like, just stand up and go, she needs help. But no, we can't. We've got to go down under the table.
Right, Brenda, you're at the, stay where you are. I'll be there in a minute.
Yep.
Click. Hi. Yes, the Associate Center party. Yes, please paid.
Yeah.
You know, and Mrs. Anderson. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, Mrs. Anderson. Look, my friend's mom. Can you call Brenda's mom? I'm going to call her right now, and I'm going to call the cops because she's trapped. Come on.
No, I understand.
Right.
But I get it. It's not a movie if you do that, and I have the discussion all the time. But
it's funny. As you said that, I realized a hidden subtext of the film. That is a rule that our parents gave us and gave her. Don't go to the city. You can go out, but only for ice cream. You know, she's got to take her cough syrup. No chocolate for Brad. Don't stay up too late. All the usual things. And Chris, as a good babysitter, needs to make sure it's kind of clean too, so she does the whole Ferris Bueller, just in time, kind of, and clean up and so we knew what movies we were ripping these off from. When we did them.
Oh yeah,
we're very aware, and Chris Columbus could speak to us and go, "This is like this moment. This is like this moment." He's like, "I'm going to give you a Spielberg dolly zoom on this. Sarah's in trouble," and I'm like, "I got my own dolly zoom." So the parents were obviously dumb. We ridiculed them. There was a take where we're driving home, and since we're in the car, there's no adult supervision. It's all us turning on the sound thingy, and they're like, "Go, we're rolling," and do the scene a few times. Don't stop until the film runs. The camera runs out of film. So for take after take, I go, I don't know, 35 to how fast do your parents go? And finally they caught it, and they go, "Could you up the speed a little bit?" So I go, I don't know, 45, and she's like, "I'll do 80." And 45 still seems low. But obviously I'm ridiculing how safe my mom and dad, the cushion, the support of the suburbs, that lifestyle, the biggest problem. It's funny how both her and Sue Ellen Crandall their big question at the beginning of the movie is, what college are they going to go to? Are you going to go to college? That's kind of comes up early. I guess it's part of the coming of age kind of story. Other than Link, and I don't know if anyone saw Link.
No. No, sorry.
No. This was Elizabeth Shue's second film.
All right.
The monkey. Yeah.
Sorry.
Monkey,
Yeah.
Right. Immediately, I'm like, I saw Link, and Elizabeth Shue goes, "It was a double." I didn't even ask yet. I didn't ask yet. Very disappointed to hear that. But I loved Link. Link was disturbing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Remember Project X with Broderick? Another instance of
you're
two
right.
movies at the same time. And Monkeys.
Monkey Shines.
Monkey
Shines.
Monkey Shines.
George Romero.
Thank you. Love
Very
Monkey
nice.
Shines.
All these.
Romero's great. There is a time where Romero and Carpenter were both.
Yep.
Here's a lefty. Bam. Here's a righty. Ground double. Boom.
Yep.
I mean, just movie after movie.
All different levels of good and not so good, but that's okay because we like all of them. Jay, what do you think? Is it final judgment time?
Sure.
All right. So here's the deal. Go ahead.
No, I was going to play the
final.
All right. Play the theme.
Judgment.
There we go.
Are you ready to rubber stamp this bitch? Here's the final judgment.
All right, so now comes the time for our podcast where we do final judgment. So the whole point of the film crickets is that we look at a movie from way back in the day and then we watch it again and we decide whether or not it holds up to the test of time. Not whether or not we liked it or not, but whether it holds up. So let's start the discussion. should we start with Keith? Jay, what do you think?
Sure.
All right, Keith, what do you think? This
Give
might
us
be a
your
loaded
unbiased opinion.
Unbiased opinion. Do you think this movie holds up?
Oh, I'm ready. For the look of the film, of course, for the look of the film, it was shot on Panavision Platinum, and it was the only other movie to first get one. Inner Space was the other film, and we both came out the same weekend. We were released the same weekend, so we're playing with new toys and a world-class director of photography, a child as a director who could be with us and talk on our level. We never said, Over the Top had just come out in theaters, and I think we saw it at one point. There's this huge Cineplex Odeon, 13plex or 18plex in Toronto, and we were all go see movies on our days off. And if we ever went too big, Chris Columbus would cut OTT, Over the Top. And so we always had to keep it cutting. So the look of the film, there's high grain, and it's from the film stock and just kind of how it's lit. And the Blu-ray has a lot of that grain. It looks amazing projected from the Blu-ray in digital cinemas. They were like, I go, where'd you get this DCP? And they're like, this is from the Blu-ray. Beautiful. It looks great on a big screen. On a small screen, the grain is kind of like, ooh, what year was this shot? But it's shot with the modern language of that Simpson Bruckheimer backlight kind of gloss. So visually, I think it holds up. That night is expensive to shoot night exteriors. It's really expensive to do that. We were rolling full thunder with the cranes and the lights, and it was also the time when Shotmaker Lightmaker had come out with their Shotmaker truck, which is a crane on the end of a big truck, a 350, and they had shot Young Guns and Cousins. We used one in that. It was a new way. They would actually back this because the crane was so good. They would back the truck through the stage doors to get it and use it on sets, interior sets, because it was such a great crane, but on the truck. It's great for follow shots. So we had all these new slick tricks. So I think the movie looks great, sounds great. That soundtrack, which has never been available because all the blues artists were from different labels. They couldn't pull them together for a soundtrack. So only recently has there been an actual physical. Most of it's Michael Kamen's music, but with Babysitting Blues, Future in Your Eyes, and Express Ray to Your Heart, the redos by Southside Johnny and the Jukes. The themes hold up except for... Okay, in the 80s, movies were very... we played Smear the Queer on the playground. So Thor's a Homo is...
There we go.
Is Brad's wrong. Brad is wrong to say, I'm going to use... homo as a derogatory, and then I'm going to make my sister think it's a derogatory, and that she's even going to innocently say she doesn't even know it's a derogatory. She just goes, don't worry, she thinks you're a homo anyway. So what's funny is within layers of that kind of understanding of language, he just wanted to say something would be mean. For Brad to think to say you're a homo would be mean, that's what's wrong in that. But that was a lot of attitudes at the time in 86 or 87.
Yes.
So I give that a pass, but not really, but I do. I don't know why, and I refuse. I remember Disney sent me a cassette tape. They said, could you please record weirdo or hobo? Actually, they said hobo. Could you please record the word hobo on the cassette and send it back to us? And they're going to plug it in for the TV coverage. And I had moved on to a few other movies, and I was an artiste, and I wouldn't do it. So in the original TV edits, you hear, Thor's a hobo. And it's like totally some other actor's line. They would put hobo. But then they lifted weirdo from another part where I said weirdo. So it's my voice. And it's a better match. And it works on the Disney Plus.
All right.
And I don't know where they got Don't Fool with the Babysitter. I think that was Elizabeth, but during a dubbing session. Originally when we did it, we did do TV edits or TV coverage of a lot of lines. Also, we shot them. So when we're about to take off from the house, she goes, your parents would die if you left you alone with my parents would die if they found out you left Brad to sit me. It was originally shit, and we had, sorry for the language, we had Maya Bruton saying your parents will, if they find out you left me. But then we also shot the TV coverage at that time and then just used it. We never ever used the bad language version of that. So in terms of a few of those things, Regrets? Yeah. I think that, but at the time, I think I knew audiences were like, ooh, why do you say that? That's not quite right.
Mm-hmm.
And it pissed off Thor. Great first Thor on screen. I think Vincent D'Onofrio is a perfect first Thor.
Agreed.
For women empowerment, I've done a few films where women are the lead, like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. Great. Mm-hmm. We passed the Bechdel issue because her first scene, she fails it. They're just talking about the guy she's going to have a date with and all this other stuff. But it gets beyond that and just gets her taking care of her charges. So one point, she does have conversations. Does she have a conversation with another female named character? It's not about a boy. No.
Oh. All right. Well.
No, I don't think it touches it. I don't. But it's still. They even chose the Associate Center because it was the only building in downtown Chicago that wasn't phallic. It was designed by a woman architect, and it's actually a reclined diagonal.
Oh.
It's supposed to mean the feminine.
Got it.
And so it's great. Instead of a poster of this young teenage babysitter girl climbing a phallic building like King Kong,
wow.
It is her owning her feminine power.
Okay.
There was an essay that broke Brad, Daryl, Sarah, and Chris into id, ego, super ego, and an audience perspective. It was really neat.
Wow.
Like, broke down each character. So of course, I think it stands the test of time.
Okay.
I love that people tell me that back in the day, they'd go to their Blockbuster with their parents on the weekend, and for half an hour, they'd pretend to look for another movie and then just rent Babysitting again. People tell me that they'd have a tape that they wore it out. And I've watched plenty of movies plenty of times, but I've never worn a tape out. Yep. So that's an honor. Curtis Armstrong said it very well. Booger, of course. He said, someone asked him, what does it take to make it in movies? And he goes, luck. But there's two layers of luck. There's one level, you got a movie, you got a part, and you filmed this movie. The second layer is, will they be talking about it years from now? Will it be something that people look on nostalgia or will want to ever watch again after its opening weekend? And I'm so lucky that I think Adventures of Babysitting has stood the test of time. That's my opinion, and I'm Keith Coogan.
And I approve.
And I support this message.
Plus, Excellent. They remade it. They remade it for a Disney Channel original movie. It was their 100th Disney Channel original movie.
Wow.
And they redid it.
Yep.
And it was great. It was rated G. And very fun. And nodding, giving all the nods and acknowledgments to the original universe.
Sure. Cool.
That's great.
Jay. Thank you, Keith. I appreciate that. It was excellent. Jay. What do you think, Jay?
Well, so, like I
Match
said,
that.
I had seen it in the theater. Yeah. No. Zero chance. I'd seen it in the theater, and it was funny. I'd gone away with a mutual friend of ours, Jay, back in the day. His mother and stepfather were going up to New Hampshire, and it was one of those basically staying at a hotel with not a lot going on. Like, you weren't like doing a lot of stuff. It was just more like, so fine, if this is one of those chill vacations, keep dropping us off at that plaza we know about over there that has the movie theater and the arcade right next to it. Boom. Well, you get us out of your hair and we're thrilled. So, and I swear, I think, I think that week we saw like 5 different films, so it was like stuff like, it was that, La Bamba, Jaws: The Revenge. My apologies. And
Jesus!
I think Spaceballs also was around the same, right around the same moment that we saw. So it was just like chock full, and I was like, I want to see Adventures in Babysitting, man. I saw this trailer and it looks hysterical, and we ended up absolutely loving it. And see, I would say the overall theme is making you feel unsafe. You know what I mean? Like throughout, as you're going through it. Of course, it's not like in the movie Halloween unsafe, but I'm talking about the discomfort. You're out of your comfort zone. You're away. You're in the city. There's nothing. Everything's foreign. Even when the tire blows and Pruitt says, you took a bunch of kids on the expressway. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, everything is there's just nothing going right, and and that sets the tone. Nothing's going to go right for the next, even if it goes right a little bit, bad stuff's going to come around the corner. We promise. But like a horror film or like anything like that, it's the safe roller coaster. Like I said, it takes you in this adventure, pun intended. But but I'm saying like it takes you on this journey that you can feel unsafe, but then you're safe at the same time, and so it brings joy.
Go is a great example, and Homegrown are two movies that have huge stakes during the second act. Someone's going to get shot. Someone's going to get murdered, killed. You are up here in tension. And both Go and Homegrown end with no one dying and kind of, these kids had a great adventure. And Go in Homegrown, the whole town is outside the chain link fences. The cops burn all the weed, and the whole town just kind of breathes in this smoke. And you're like, I fell for it. I fell for all this fake tension. It's not like Shallow Grave where it starts to get sketchy and then it gets sketchier. Both, all these movies pull out from that kind of night of craziness, A Night in the Town. And I think David Simpkins is, at least when we made Adventure Babysitting, he said he saw Ferris Bueller's Day Off and went home and wrote the outline to Adventures in Babysitting. He goes, it starts at home.
Sure.
We're going to have a musical sequence. Twist and Shout versus Babysitting Blues. We're going to have a French restaurant sequence. They're going to beat the parents just in time home. So there was a lot of those bones. Because it's easy story structure. It's an anthology style way of kind of like MASH, the movie. It's a way of moving through with characters. Oh, and I love what Adventures is, you brought it up, it has a push and a pull, a pincer movement, if you will. She's got to try to get these home kids safe and everything, but then they're running from the gang members too. So they're not only trying to get home, they're also trying to not get chased. But so they're squeezed. And then they run into a third element while they're trying to get to these other two goals. So you think it holds up.
So.
Oh, absolutely. For all those reasons. Because like I said, how you feel, that type of storyline is it's just so simple to bring to people. Like, for instance, I showed it to my 16-year-old daughter the other day, and she had a blast.
Nice.
So when I prepared for this, you know what I mean? So, like, I always wonder how well it's going to hit for modern audiences. And, I mean, like, that's a universal style. So, absolutely. Holds up.
Yeah.
Sweet. Thanks.
Cool. All right. So, I will, I'm going to say this. First of all, I saw this movie once before and didn't see it till last night. No, it's cool. So I didn't see it until last night. When I first saw this movie, it's with my mutual friend Brian McMillan. We watched a lot of horror movies, a lot of Evil Dead 2. Watched Evil Dead 2, though that one wore out. I wore that movie till that. I rented that every weekend regardless. And then every now and then he'd throw something at me like this, Adventures in Babysitting, PG-13 movie. And I'm like, why are we watching this? And we had a blast with it back in the day because, again, it starts really quaint and then gets really gritty. And so, and I liked that there was a couple of F-bombs in there. And I liked that because it wasn't your regular thing.
Do you still have him?
All right.
There he is. All right.
So I got him. So my point is this, and I'm glad that Keith brought up the whole that Thor is a homo thing. It's probably not the greatest choice. It was okay back in the day. It's like when we saw Can't Buy Me Love, and the kid kept saying, cards with the tards. Like, that was funny back in the day. It's not okay now for obvious reasons.
Monster Squad.
There are other things in this movie that... Yeah, Monster Squad. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. But my point is that there are other instances in this movie that, like, for instance, a man with a hook hand isn't exactly the funniest thing. You know what I mean? Or the man with the hook hand trying to kill his wife's lover, because domestic violence is hysterical. But I mean, I don't want to go down that road. I don't want to go down that road because here's why. Except for the Thor's a homo thing. Okay, except for that, and I don't even care about the F-bombs. Those other things that are kind of, you understand that this is, it's a fantasy. It's these suburbanites are going into Chicago, and everything that's scary, if you've never been in a city, is 100 times scarier. You think everybody with a trench coat has a gun. You think that every homeless person is going to try to steal your stuff. You're not being narrow-minded. It's just 100 times scarier. This Chicago looks like Armageddon. There are like barrels with fires in them. Like, it looks like an apocalypse, for Christ's sakes. You know what I mean? It looks like, I'm serious. Like, why, whoever is on the tourism board for Chicago is like, could you maybe dress up the city a little bit? Because everything looks like a demilitarized zone. But I'm not saying that's how Chicago is. That's how it's viewed by suburbanites going into Chicago between the hours of 8 p.m. and 12:30 the next morning, right? So I'm okay with all of those. I'm okay with the guy has a hook hand. It's right from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. I'm okay with the Chicago, with the hospital and the Indian doctor who's obviously been up for 36 hours putting the one stitch in your foot. Like,
Dr. Nookbang, the patient with the stab wounds just died.
I did not.
Did you recognize her?
Yeah.
She's in RoboCop.
I did not. I'm sorry.
Bitches leave. She is one of the two cokehead girls with Miguel Ferrar.
That's so cool. But no, that's awesome. So any of that stuff that would be kind of sketchy, or even like the frat party. The frat party's kind of, if you look at it on its face, is a little bit creepy because it's a bunch of teenagers in a frat party and they want to make out with teenagers. Like, that's kind of creepy. But on the other side of it, if you're from suburbia and you're transplanted into this new universe, everything looks 100 times better or worse than they actually are, right? It's some wicked awesome rager and I get free beer and I can chug popcorn and whatever.
And that was funny. It was also David Simpkins' opportunity to be in the movie as the frat guy. It's like, are you Miss March? No, I told you, stupid. It's not Miss March.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's all right. No, that's okay. So for that reason, like I said, even the stuff that is kind of
sorry, my wife
kind of off.
Jr. Go on.
That's awesome.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, it holds up. It holds up. Just for that reason, even the stuff that's kind of shaky in terms of what is acceptable now and then, it's a fantasy. It doesn't matter. Everything's cranked up to 100 in the eyes of a teenager. So yes, it does hold up. So excellent. Is it? He got so excited for Carl.
We don't even get it on these, but we get to see the commercials, which is wonderful. We don't get that either. Nope. Not unless you're like not in the South. It's in the South, but not here.
Oh, I apologize.
Oh, that's all right. It's just one of those things. I like seeing the commercials for stuff we don't have.
Right. Nah,
that's exciting. Have an In-N-Out.
What's that?
Where do you have an In-N-Out burger?
Like,
yeah, we don't have that either.
California
pizza. The only thing we have.
The only thing that we like a few hundred miles of their.
No, not that either.
Where they make them, so they're only West Coast. I think they did Vegas and Utah. They have to be able to drive a refrigerator truck to them, and they're basically a smash burger. But In-N-Out is one of the best burgers on the West Coast.
We do have smash burger. We have one. And the other thing that's like uber, like,
good for us.
Like famous that it took 9 years for us to get it was Sonic. Like for that, we kept seeing commercials for that too, and it's like we don't have one, and then finally we do. So it's just kind of strange.
So we did our final judgment. That was Adventures in Babysitting. I want to thank our guest one more time.
Thank
so
you for letting me defend
so
the film.
gracious.
I appreciate
Keith Coogan. Thank you so much.
I do want to.
Oh my God!
I real quick. I do want to say that Katie emailed and said that she said, "Forgive me, I'm in a personal emergency, and I'm sorry. Could we please reschedule for next week?" Obviously, I'm going away next week. So I said, I will talk to the guys and see what we can do, down the road.
Having said that, I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank my longtime friend, Jay, Keith Coogan, one more time. If you want to email us, it's filmcrickets8099@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Twitter. Please like and retweet. Facebook, rate and review on Apple. We have our YouTube channel as well, so you can see all of our lovely faces in live and in color. And but until next time, I want to thank everybody for coming by, and we'll see you again for the next movie.
Also,
thanks a bunch.
Keith.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I just didn't know if you wanted to plug anything, like or tell people how to get a hold of you or whatever.
Nobody leaves this place without singing blues.
That's right.
I can be found at KeithCooganOnline.com. Autographs, dishes are done, man. Cameo, Keith Coogan, Twitter, Keith Coogan, Instagram, Keith Coogan. I'm really creative with the whole name on the thing. And thanks again for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.